Friends, an impressive snowfall has hit Buffalo, New York, leaving striking images of a powerful winter storm that formed, and all of this has a cost. Lake effect snow in New York has complicated travel for many morning commuters in Buffalo on Wednesday, November 29th. Up to 2 feet of snow covered northern New York State, bringing with it strong, cold gusts of wind. Meteorologists said roads have been snow-covered, and the weather has been quite icy, causing significantly reduced visibility for drivers. Conditions have also forced school closures and created nearly impossible driving conditions as absolutely nothing can be seen. Lake effect snow has snaked northward through the Buffalo metropolitan area on Wednesday morning, slowing down the commute for many people. This lake effect snow season near the Great Lakes brought 1 to 2 feet of snow in some areas. All lake effect snow warnings expired at 7 a.m., and authorities said that by the afternoon, the snow was coming down across the Great Lakes, with some light snow showers crossing lakes in northwest Pennsylvania.
Hey, I told them they could pull out.
According to meteorologists, suburbs are likely to see 3 to 4 in, but most areas will likely see between 1 and 3.5 in of snow as the lake effect continues to move. However, something that surprised experts is the snowfall that occurred in Constableville, New York, which was utterly incredible. Freeze-related warnings and advisories are in place from the Florida Panhandle to southern Georgia as temperatures may drop again on Thursday, November 30th morning.
Snow. Pretty big snow.
Experts also noted that lake effect has come and gone in western New York, with some places inundated with 2 feet of snow, while the city of Buffalo saw its first accumulation of the season. Now, New York is preparing for a white Christmas as, after various snowfalls, it's essential to stay alert to authorities' alerts and take precautions, especially when traveling. The weather can create truly beautiful snowy landscapes worth seeing, but can also affect travelers and expose people to extreme conditions. Areas like Buffalo were blanketed in white, leaving behind some striking images, and the effects are still to be seen in other places. For example, there's a snow warning in Lewis County, while in Jefferson, including the city of Watertown, there's a winter weather alert. Large amounts of snow have already been recorded, and more snow could still fall, especially in communities on the eastern shores of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. It's worth noting that the reason for this snowfall is a phenomenon known as the lake effect, which has been happening since Monday night and has now reached this Great Lakes area, which still had relatively warm temperatures, but the thermal shock triggered the snowfall. So far, the lake effect has had a more significant impact in New York, where the heaviest snowfall was recorded, for example, in Haymarket, which registered 42.7 in, that's like 3.5 feet of snow, while in Red Hill, it reached just under 2 feet of snow. Due to these conditions, authorities also requested school closures. Additionally, authorities asked citizens to make preparations and take precautions because in such conditions, the probability of accidents on the roads increases, as cars can skid and collide with other vehicles. Furthermore, in Hamburg, the police department asked residents to drive with caution after several reports of collisions, while in the city of Orchard Park, they revealed that many roads were snow-covered and filled with abandoned vehicles.
As the day goes by.
Did you see the snow?
For this reason, alerts for western New York for Cattaraugus, Chautauqua, and southern Erie counties have continued. The National Weather Service indicated that the snow could move towards southern New England, where there could be some snow and rain.
Yo, this is crazy.
We're trapping on this bomber, Taras.
Alright, fine. You know what? You should come on. Ralph! Where are you running off?
About 20 minutes there. Traffic.
In Sichuan and Gansu, devastating floods wreaked havoc, causing widespread destruction. A staggering 24,000 homes crumbled, and 61,000 hectares of farmland were submerged, with 17,000 hectares completely ruined. The torrential waters flooded China's streets, leaving hundreds stranded on their rooftops. Tragically, hundreds lost their lives, and 62 individuals were reported missing as heavy rain and overflowing rivers led to catastrophic flooding in Pingwu County, Mianyang, Sichuan Province. The calamity impacted more than 21,000 residents, prompting the evacuation of 1,223 people. The situation worsened in Mianyang, particularly in Beichuan-Qiang Autonomous County, where 96 lives were lost and 11 individuals went missing due to the relentless rain and overflowing rivers. Chengdu, Deyang, and Mianyang collectively witnessed the impact on 50,900 people, leading to the preemptive evacuation of 68,000 individuals. Simultaneously, the neighboring province of Gansu, north of Sichuan, faced 6 days of relentless heavy rainfall. Approximately 7,126 people in districts of Longnan City bore the brunt of the disaster. In Longnan City alone, a staggering 337 millimeters of rain fell, exacerbating the already dire situation, as reported by local media. Simultaneously, the neighboring province of Gansu, north of Sichuan, faced 6 days of relentless heavy rainfall. Approximately 7,126 people in districts of Longnan City bore the brunt of the disaster. In Longnan City alone, a staggering 337 millimeters of rain fell, exacerbating the already dire situation, as reported by local media. Tragedy struck in southwest China's Sichuan province as severe flooding claimed the lives of 7 individuals at a power station. Local authorities revealed the grim news on Thursday. The incident occurred in the Ganzi Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture, where heavy rainfall led to the flooding of a power station building. As a result, 7 people lost their lives, and 2 others are currently trapped. The impact of the floods extends beyond this specific incident, with widespread heavy rain affecting large areas of China, particularly in the southern and central provinces. Shockingly, over 8 million people across the country have been adversely affected by the floods. In Damba County, over 20,000 people were forced to evacuate due to the heavy rain triggering mudslides and debris flow. Fortunately, rescue efforts were successful in saving at least 14 individuals trapped in these perilous conditions. Disturbingly, reports from the media indicate that the mudslide has given rise to a barrier lake, posing a threat to numerous villages downstream. The consequences include the destruction of a local power station and several houses in the vicinity. Responding to this crisis, more than 400 rescue workers, along with 29 vehicles, 8 excavators, and 40 pumps, were deployed from various provincial, prefectural, and county departments. Providing a broader context, local authorities in Sichuan Province, China, reported 1 fatality and at least 3 individuals missing due to heavy rainfall in 2023. The destructive impact of the rains is evident in the damage caused to homes, roads, and crops across the province. Adding to the concerns, authorities issued a warning about the Xiaojin River in the Aba Tibetan and Chiang Autonomous Prefecture, Sichuan Province, which is currently 40 centimeters above the designated warning levels. The situation remains critical as efforts are underway to manage and mitigate the ongoing impact of the floods in the region.
Northeastern United States. The northeast of the United States was at the mercy of heavy snowfalls. Due to this situation, in many educational institutions canceled classes. Crews are working on the roads to clear snowdrifts. Motorists are urged to exercise special caution because of the icy conditions. In Ohio, more than 20 traffic accidents occurred during the blizzard. Heavy snowfall warnings have been in effect in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York since the beginning of this week. For example, in the city of Syracuse in New York State, the thickness of the snow cover reached 58 centimeters, and in Cleveland, Ohio, 33 centimeters. The weather in this part of the United States is expected to normalize by Thursday. Earlier it was reported that at least 11 states in the U.S., from the south to the north of the country, were under a powerful winter storm. In many of them there were heavy snowfalls, and in the south, from Texas to Florida, there were powerful downpours. Iwo Jima Island, Japan. The explosive eruption of the Nejima volcano on the island of Iwo Jima, in the archipelago of volcanic islands in southern Japan, continues. Back in October, active ash emissions near the volcano caused the formation of a small island, which already stretches from the coast of Japan to the Mariana Trench. It grew quite actively as the volcanic material accumulated. However, the morphology of the island suffers from severe erosion by ocean waves, as it is still only composed of loose young lava material. This means that it is very prone to collapse into the water. Boon Lay, Singapore. Bad weather has caused flooding in Singapore's western Boon Lay neighborhood. The torrential downpour has left dozens of streets flooded. Local authorities recommend temporarily bypassing the area to avoid traffic jams. The city services are already busy eliminating the consequences of the disaster. Crimea and Sevastopol. The most powerful storm in history occurred in Crimea. Wind gusts reached 40 meters per second, waves covered the coast, destroyed infrastructure and residential houses. The authorities have declared an emergency regime in the region. Almost 2 million people remain without electricity. And according to meteorologists' forecasts, such weather will remain here until the middle of the week. According to the latest data, rescuers evacuated more than 350 people. People were sent to temporary accommodation centers. Because of the elements suffered not only residents and tourists, but also animals. Because of flooding in the Sevastopol Aquarium Museum died about 800 individuals. Among the animals were an exotic species. Storm of the century destroyed and the famous oyster farm of the Institute of Biology. Seawater filtration equipment was smashed, a farm boat sank, and the mooring lot was destroyed. Now the city's public utilities are working around the clock. The disaster still continues, heavy rain or even hail. There are delays in the schedule of air flights and railway transportation. The authorities promise to restore electricity supply in the coming days. But residents are asked not to panic and to wait for the storm to end. Ohio, United States.
Well, I just wanted to let you know.
3 people were killed and 1 injured in an explosion that occurred at an auto repair shop in Ohio on Tuesday. A powerful fire broke out at about 4 p.m. at Jimbo's Auto Repair. Officials have not been able to determine the cause of the explosion. Authorities believe 4 people were inside the auto repair shop at the time of the explosion, 3 of whom died. The 4th person was transported from the scene to the hospital and is in stable condition. 8 fire units arrived at the scene to help contain the fire. No damage to nearby structures was reported as a result of the explosion and fire. Eyewitnesses reported that the explosion shook the ground several blocks away.
It was crazy.
Georgia. The Black Sea coast of Georgia was hit by a storm of 8 points. The coastal areas of the popular resorts of Batumi and Kabylie, as well as the port city of Poti, located on the Black Sea coast, were seriously damaged. In Batumi, the elements caused significant damage. New Boulevard was damaged, the pedestrian path was washed away, Kimshiashvili Street was flooded, as well as the first floors of buildings. The local authorities urged the residents to refrain from walking along the embankment due to the dangerous storm. In Kabylie, the beach and infrastructure were also damaged, cafes and bars were damaged. In the city of Poti, strong winds tore off the roofs of several multi-story buildings and damaged cars. Work to eliminate the consequences of the disaster continues under emergency conditions.
Да вот, волна разбила тут. Вот это все. Ой, вот. Сами волны.
Odessa, Ukraine. A few days ago, Odessa found itself in the center of a real winter storm. Heavy snowfall and gusty winds led to the fact that the whole city was put out of action. Many roads were blocked due to fallen trees and power lines, which left more than 200 settlements without light and communication. Unfortunately, it was not without victims and casualties. According to local authorities, 3 people died due to the snowstorm, and another 27 residents sought help from medics with complaints of hypothermia. Emergency services are now working around the clock to restore life in the city. Communal workers are clearing highways and restoring power supply in settlements. In this regard, residents are asked to abandon personal transportation and long-distance travel. The roads are still slippery. Despite all the inconveniences, citizens show solidarity and help each other in a difficult moment. We hope that the emergency services will cope with the task of restoring normal life in the city as soon as possible. California, USA. Residents of California in the US were spooked by burning pipe flares and a huge cloud of black smoke that resulted from a power outage at the Chevron refinery in Richmond. Company executives quickly took action to extinguish the fire, while workers at the facility tried to minimize its effects. Authorities instituted a Level 1 public alert system, according to which no evacuation was required. Specialists were sent to the plant to assess the situation. Environmentalists said air quality was not affected by the flaring. The smoke plume stretched westward, but at the moment the situation at the plant is under control and the fire has been stopped. Dagestan, Russia. In the Shamil district of Dagestan, a rock avalanche has covered a section of the highway Ganubskoy Highway, Vantlyashevsky Pass, between the villages of Karadak and Galadal. Traffic is closed. The equipment necessary for clearing the highway is being moved to the place. The road in Shamil district will be reopened after the consequences of the collapse are eliminated. Genichesk, Kherson region. The Crimean hurricane, which occurred in Genichesk, Kherson region, caused the strongest sea tide in the last 60 years. In some places the water receded more than 100 meters from the shore. The shoreline is now littered with algae, jellyfish, and shells. Local residents come to watch this unusual phenomenon, and some even search the seabed with metal detectors. Our planet. Climatologist Alexei Karnakov warned of the possible appearance of a sustained hurricane on Earth due to climate change. Global warming causes a shift in the boundaries of climate zones, and the monsoon zone has already begun to shift to the territory of Russia. Scientists predict that if people do not begin to seriously deal with climate problems, hurricanes may become commonplace. Global warming causes a shift in the boundaries of climate zones, and the monsoon zone has already begun to shift to the territory of Russia. Recall that the longest tropical storm, Freddie, lasted almost 40 days. There are also known cases when hurricanes, having originated in the Atlantic, crossed Central America and continued their way in the Pacific Ocean. A researcher of the Pushchino Center for Biological Research calls for responsible attitude to ecology and taking measures to prevent catastrophic consequences of climate change.
In a relentless onslaught, a powerful storm has battered the picturesque square island of Sicily, Italy, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. The tempest, which struck with unbridled force, has brought chaos in the region, testing the resilience of both local and authorities. Wind reaching hurricane force tore through the island, uprooted trees, tearing off roofs, and disrupted essential service. The storm's fury is particularly evident in the coastal area where colossal waves pounded the shores, leaving a severe flooding in several seaside towns and villages. The iconic landscape on Sicily, known of their scenic beauty, have been transformed into scenes and tumult and despair. Emergency services are working tirelessly to respond to the crisis, with their rescue teams deployed to the most affected areas. Reports indicate the numerous roads have become impossible due to debris and flooding, hampering rescue and evacuation force. The island's infrastructure has suffered significant damage, compounding the challenges faced by both residents and emergency response. Local authorities have issued urgent warning, advised residents to stay indoors and wear necessary travel.
Assassini! Delinquenti sono! Delinquenti! Borsai! Delinquenti sono! Sono dei delinquenti! A muoversi questo tempo! Delinquenti! Ma cos'ha?
Schools and businesses have been forced to close, to public transportation have been severely disrupted. The storm's impact on daily life is palpable, as citizens grappling with power outage and a shortage in essential supplies. The Italian Meteorological Service has described the storm as unprecedented, citing the coverage of multiple weather systems and the catalyst on the intensify. Meteorologists have issued warning well in advance, but the sheer force of the storm has surpassed even most pessimistic projection, as the most upside potential is shifting to the daunting tasks of recovery and reconstruction. Prime Minister has pledged government support to affected region, emphasizing the need for the swift and coordinated response. International aid organizations are also mobilizing rescue to assist in the relief force. This latest natural disaster service as a ceremony of the vulnerability of coastal communities and the increasingly periodic and severe impact of climate change. Severe known for its rich history and cultural heritage, now facing long and arduous road to recovery, as the community unity rebuild what the storm has ruthlessly taken away. In a dramatic turn of events, Sicily, the picturesque square island of the heat of Mediterranean recently, bore the both of a recent storm that left a trail of destruction in its wake. The storm was struck the region with the unprecedented intensity, showcasing both beauty and the brutal force of the nature. As the city come together to face the challenges of relentless tempest, the storm arrival was heralded due to a monotonous dark cloud gathered over the island. Rainfall, initially gentle, quickly escalated in the torrential that caused the flooding in low-lying area. Sicilian towns and villages, the cobblestone streets, now turned themselves, battled to manage in rising water. Authorities worked diligently to evacuate vulnerable residents, ensuring ensure their safety during the meteorological onslaught. The wind, an unrelated force of nature, was the storm's most fearsome component, with the guests reaching hurricane stage. Trees were uprooted, roofs torn into chaos, and power lines severed. The storm's destructive path left many residents without electricity, rendering them isolated from the outside world. Coastal region of Sicily in particular endured a relentless onslaught from the sea. Enormous waves, spurred by the storm fury, lashed the shorelines, causing significant erosion damage to waterfront proportion. Local fishermen, well versed in the sea's temperamental nature, reported substantial losses on their boat and equipment, while the storm brought devastation in also revealed the indomitable spirit of Sicilian people. Neighbors helped one another, offering shelters to assist those in need. Emergency service working tirelessly to face of adversity come to aid standing citizens to begin process to assist the repair and the damage. Meteorologists and climate scientists have emphasized the increasing frequency and intensify other extreme weather events as the consequences of global climate change. Sicily experienced severe stock money for sustainable and resilient infrastructure to mitigate the impact of such natural disaster. As the Sicilian people work to rebuild their lives and communities in the storm aftermath, the story of the resilience amidst the fury of nature and testament of the human spirit's enduring stretch. The storm may have left a trail of destruction, but it also revealed the unbreakable bonds that unite the people of this remarkable island as they rise together to face challenges in an unpredictable world. Despite of chaos and devastation, on spirit of resilience and solidarity shine through. Local communities, including volunteers, have come together to provide assistance to those in need. From distributing food and medical supplies to organized rescue missions, Sicilians have demonstrated remarkable strength in the face of adversity. The Italian government has launched a coordinated effort to mitigate the crisis, provided additional resources to bolster relief operations to support affected communities. They are also working closely to international agencies and neighboring countries to secure aid and expertise to dealing with the disaster. The floods in Sicily is stuck money in increasing the climate progress on our planet. Recent global temperatures are resulted in most extreme weather events in the region like Sicily are experienced in both this change. Experts emphasize the importance of addressing climate change to mitigate the impact of such disaster in the future. As the flood waters recede of cleanup and recovery efforts begin to people Sicily of our result in the determination to rebuild their lives and communities.
Sembra che ci sia il fiume.